struggling a bit on the pace, I think now. He's just got to sit there and see how it develops in front of him. It's going to be a bit down to tyres.
Are you saying that all the Hondas, bar the works on and McCarthy, are struggling?
No, I don't think Hondas are struggling. I think that the Pirelli shod Yamaha just is showing us a little bit more form at the moment. But of course that can change as this race goes on. We're only on lap 7 of 20, so it's going to be seen. Remember the road bike tyres; they got grooves on.
Just about to say that you have to by the regulations run over-the-counter tyres on these motorbikes.
Yeah, I'm sure. So
yes,
we'll wait and see.
That's what the regulations say, Keith. I'm saying nothing else.
I'm sure you can buy them over the counter, but what counter? I don't know.
Yeah.
Might be the works back door one at Pirelli, Dunlop and various others.
Well, yes, so that's about it. Certainly at the World Championship level in this class, there's normally 4 choices of tyre compound for the riders.
Here comes, yes he is, Dean Thomas, right on the case of Jim Moody. Jim Moody has got some work to do now because Dean Thomas is going to challenge. This could be quite a battle because Moody will not give way. Remember, Moody is only on a 2-race deal with this Yamaha team. If he doesn't, he won at Snetterton, he set pole at Snetterton. Here he is, off of pole, he's leading this race with a long way to go, and he really would want to win this. He needs to stamp some kind of authority on this so that Yamaha stump up the cash to sponsor V&M for the rest of the season. We've got another 6 rounds of this to go at the moment. It's not often that you can actually buy a championship lead. Jim Moody sits in the lead in the series. Anybody with some money can walk in and sponsor him and win the Supersport series. That for me and especially with Supersport being a fairly sought after championship.
Well, that's because of course the 600cc 4-cylinder bikes are the biggest selling class worldwide. These are the bikes that most of the punters out there have come on.
Indeed, great little class, always has been. Moody leads on an Arctic Yamaha from a 748 D&E Ducati, from a 600cc Castrol Honda, from a 600cc Sanyo First National Honda. Glenn Richards on it.
Yes, number 6, Thomas, is in 9th on our timing, at 2nd on the road. Has there been a penalty thrown about?
Well, maybe we'll find that out a little bit later on. I don't know why that's the case.
He's not disappeared from the timing. He is down in...
Well, no doubt we'll get an indication from race control just why we are seeing that on our monitor in the manner that we are. Dean Thomas is in 2nd place on the road, but must have been given a penalty for possibly a jump start.
I haven't seen a yellow flag for him to be penalised.
I haven't seen a board either that says anything about it. So we'll have to wait and find out what the detail is with number 16, Thomas.
Because on our timing screens, Kirk McCarthy is in 2nd place, not number 16, Thomas.
Oh, I tell you what then, Dean Thomas, don't matter what he does out here, if he's got that penalty, must be a jump start, and we're getting a bit of an indication that it was a jump start. He's got a penalty for a jump start, Dean Thomas, and we might get a chance to have another look at that in just a minute or two. So 21, Jim Moody leads this race, and he's not being threatened by Dean Thomas, because Dean Thomas is way down at the pecking order as far as... let's take a look at it. Here we go then. This is the start. Let's have a look and see if Dean Thomas does it. I'll tell you what, he moved. Dean Thomas definitely moved, and it's a front axle rule here. If your front axle only has to move 6 or 7 inches, and that will mean that you get a jump start penalty. So Thomas has picked one up. A 10-second penalty, we're told, Dean Thomas has got. That's
what I was just going to say, Keith, because doing my sums off the timing monitor, it appears they've loaded his time by 10 seconds, so he is now down in 9th place on corrected time, 10.1 seconds behind the leader. That's number 6 we're talking about.
Oh, and he's rubbing Jim Moody, and Jim Moody...
The wrong way.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, yeah, don't rub Jim Moody out the wrong way, especially if you've got nothing to do with the actual race lead. There's no way that he's going to unlap himself a 10-second penalty.
Will he know that?
Yeah, of course he'll. Jim Moody's crew will have had... I mean, V&M, Jack Valentine's a big old fella, but he moves pretty fast when it comes to a pit board. And this racetrack is over 2 miles round. It's quite a long time for them to get round, nearly a minute and a half. So that's plenty of time for the team to have indicated to Jim Moody exactly what Jim Moody needs to know.
Right, I was asking really about Dean Thomas. Will his team have told him?
Oh, absolutely. His team, there's a professional outfit. I mean, they'll know exactly what's going on. Dean Thomas will be trying his hardest to minimise the damage. He's 4th in the series at the moment. He needs to really keep the pace up if he can. And let's have a look at them as they come across the line again. Moody, McCarthy, Richards, Thomas in 4th place at this moment in time, but he'll drop back behind it. Yes, he has, as it corrects. Whitby is in 4th place. Smart is in 5th place. Coulter is in 6th place. McGuinness is in 7th place. Dean Thomas is up to 8th place now. He moves in front of Steve Brogan on corrected time after the 10-second penalty has been added to number 6, Dean Thomas. I tell you what, he is going to be an angry man.
He
and
certainly
Enzo is going to be crying again.
Yes, I was just wondering about Enzo's state of mind at the moment. He will not be a happy Yorkshire Italian, will he, at the moment?
You make Yorkshire put out a pasta.
That was Keith Hewen talking, Enzo.
So then, Jimmy Mooney under pressure from Dean Thomas, but it doesn't matter one jot because he's down in 8th place. Dean Thomas I'm talking about, because he got a 10-second penalty for a jump start. It was just about discernible from our overhead camera. I didn't pick it up on the first replay of that start,
me neither.
I must say, but we saw it again. And really, Dean Thomas, well, I wonder if the thing is, if he rides really, really hard here and protests the fact that he got a 10-second penalty and then is given that 10 seconds back, then you can find that Dean Thomas...
Yep. Well, that's obviously the tactic, isn't it? You can't pull in and wave your arms.
On appeal, I mean, maybe if our camera shows something differently, we'll take a look at it again. Oh, Vermeulen is in the pits. Chris Vermeulen is out of this race. Chris Vermeulen, well, he was a challenger in the championship once. He's not anymore.
Now then, if we're going to get a replay, 4th place this is something else coming through.
Coming back to the live pictures there. So, oh, and you saw Jim Mooney. What was he up to there?
Pass.
It was a Glaswegian indication.
Yeah. Now, what's the etiquette if you're Dean Thomas?
Dean Thomas. I think there is no etiquette in the Superbikes.
Get on with it.
It's a bit like here in the commentary. You just fight with each other and try and get a word in edgeways. So 21 Mooney will do his best. Dean Thomas will still try and win this race on the road, I believe.
And argue about it afterwards.
The reason for that is he doesn't have to argue. It's down to his team. His team management must argue that penalty was not fair. But if he's given the time back, and through he goes. So Dean Thomas right on cue. We're on lap 11 of 20. Dean Thomas will want to finish this race in front of Jim Mooney, even if he has a 10-second penalty at this point, because I believe that Enzo may well go and appeal against that 10-second penalty.
And Jim Mooney's obviously aware of that as well, because he's not letting him go, is he?
Jim Mooney, he's just bloody minded for a win on the road, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that these front four have got on their mind, Keith.
Yeah, Kurt McCarthy's back in there as well now. Kurt McCarthy and Glenn Richards. So, right, it's like Bondi Beach, isn't it? Plus Glaswegian.
Yes, and with Vermeulen parked it, it's one less Australian to talk about.
Yeah, well, Vermeulen just wasn't having a great day anyway. He was starting from way back on the grid, so Vermeulen, it was a tough start for him anyhow. So over the line, Dean Thomas leads, but not on corrected time. Jim Mooney is the race leader on corrected time. That is because we have a 10-second penalty to the race leader on the road. Dean Thomas, will he get it back on appeal? I tell you what, we're spending more time in the court nowadays than we do on a racetrack.
It's a worry. Did it look like a bad jump start to you?
No, it didn't, but like I said to you before, Julian, we're way up here in the gods. We had a helicopter camera that was keeping an eye on it, but I've got to say that you haven't got to move very far for that wheel spindle to go in front of where the front edge of your tyre starts from. So if your wheel spindle, the middle of the wheel, passes the front white edge on the ground, in other words, where you're lined up against, then you cop a 10-second penalty. It's virtually if you move, you're out.
Yeah, and everybody knows the rules, of course.
Well, they do, but I mean, I'll tell you what, that is a roll and a half, because at the end of it all, you're so anxious to get off the line, and these clutches drag just a fraction as well. If you're just feathering the clutch, got a whole load of revs on. Oh, Jim Mooney, hello. G'day, mate.
Tough stuff there from Thomas and Moody. McCarthy watching. Richards just getting off the pace of the front three now.
Well, Glenn Richards, he is actually slipping back. That happened well observed, Julian. Better set of glasses than me.
Absolutely, and Howard Whitby is the man nearest to this lot, but he is 5.5 seconds behind behind Richards, who is in 3rd place on corrected time, 4th on the road. Honda number 5 in the back of your picture.
Line, then. It is.
Oh,
McCarthy! Hello. That's a teammate formerly of Jim Mooney. So through it goes. We've got 2 Aussies in front now. D&E Ducati's Dean Thomas leads this race, but not according to our monitors because of his 10-second penalty. So the race leader proper now, as far as our monitors are concerned, is Kurt McCarthy on bike 16. Jim Mooney slips to 20 points. So it's Kurt McCarthy, second in the series at the moment, who grabs a 5-point lead in this race over Jim Mooney.
And the difference
will close them up a bit.
because it's 8 points in the championship.
a nice healthy 3-point change in the championship if this is how they finish the race. But
Kirk's on a mission.
I don't actually expect that. We're on lap 13 or 20. There's still a long way to go in this race yet.
Certainly is, and Kirk McCarthy, well, he closes at certain points, but look at this, there goes Moody up the inside.
Yeah, now that is a lovely move into
oh, he's gone wide.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if he's gone wide, Jim Moody's there. He's
got the line.
On the inside of the left-hander.
Great camera.